Hello, this is a video tutorial on how to complete the Career Exploration Report using APA 6th edition rules. Once you have submitted your Career Exploration Report planner and gotten your feedback, you're ready to type the final document. I want to go over briefly the rules for creating the header based on APA 6th edition. There is a different information on the first page as opposed to the second and subsequent pages. So we're going to start by going up to Insert, and we're going to go to Page Number, choose Top of Page, and then go down to where you see the page number on the right, plain number 3. Now we're going to type beside that, in all caps, the title of your report. Now, you don't have to put the full title. If you want to, you can just put the first 2 or 3 words to make sure that you have plenty of space in the header. I'm going to hit the Tab key to move that title over to the left. And then a very important step is to go to where it says Different First Page. And this is under Design. So if you get out of that, you can always go back to Design and choose Different First Page. Everything disappears, and so we're going to do this all over again. This time the page number is over on the left, top of page, plain number 3. Again, we're going to type our title, but this time we're going to put the words running head, colon, space, and then our title. Again, hit the Tab key to move that information over to the left. And then if you double click below the dotted line, you can see here on the title page we have running head and the title and the page number. And when we go to page 2, we just have the title of the paper in all caps, and again the page numbers going up as you proceed through the paper. Now, one other correction I'm going to need to make is that for APA 6th edition, we want your font to be Times New Roman 12. So I'm going to double click back into that header space and simply highlight everything, go to Home, and change our font to Times New Roman 12. Clicking below the dotted line, I can see that it's taken the change there. When I go down here on the second page, I see that I still need to make that correction. So I'm going to highlight everything on the second page, go to Home, change my font to Times New Roman 12, double click below the dotted line, and I'm good to go. So now your header is set for the entire document. The information you need on the title page, which should be approximately in the center of the page, is the title of your report, your name, the institution, and the full date, using words, not just numbers. You will repeat your title at the beginning of the second page, and then begin to type your paragraphs using double space and indenting the first line. For your introductory paragraph, you want to give the context for why you're interested in this career. You want to introduce your 2 sources, the interviewee and the Occupational Outlook Handbook. And you want to end that paragraph by using a preview sentence in which you list the topics that you are going to discuss here in your paper. Please list them in the same order as you present them in the paper. For each of those topics, you will provide a heading in the center of the page in bold font, and then you'll use regular paragraphing to describe the information that you learned. Please make sure that you use information from both your interviewee and from the Occupational Outlook Handbook, and that you cite that information carefully. So here, when you mention your interviewee, you can do it that way. You can also do that with a parenthetical citation where you will list the interviewee's name, first initial, last name, comma, the words personal communication, comma, and then the full date of the interview end your parentheses, and end with a period. For the Occupational Outlook Handbook, I recommend that you open up the print version of that document. So I'm going to go over here to the Occupational Outlook Handbook, where I have found information on food service managers. For this site, there are multiple page numbers, or excuse me, tabs that give you different information about the career. Each time you go to a different tab, it actually changes the URL. So to avoid having to list this site multiple times in your references page, you can go over to the printer-friendly version, and this will put the entire site, all of the pages, in one document. When you do that, you will see that you have one URL. It clearly indicates this is the print version, but this is accessible to a reader. So you would want to copy this URL, and in your paper, on your references page, all you need to do is list your print source one time. So you can see that this is the URL that will take your reader to the print version, which will include all of the tabs. Notice that our author is the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The date is the date for your particular career, and that should be clearly listed. The title would be the name of the career that you looked up. You do not need to put in the subtitles for the different tabs. Notice we use sentence case so that you will only capitalize the first letter of the first word in the title. And then we'll end with retrieved from and the URL for that print version of the source. So up here, when you are citing the information from your source, all that you need to do is list the author and the year. Now, for a group author, the first time you cite that source, you want to spell out the full group author. But if it's a longer title or author and you would like to use the commonly used abbreviation, you can put the abbreviation in brackets beside the fully written out name. That would be on the first citation. When you cite it again, you only need to use the initials and the year. So that makes your parenthetical citations very simple for the Occupational Outlook Handbook. Please make sure you cite every time you use information from these sources and make it very clear which information came from which source. You can refer to the source in your sentence structure. You should also be giving parenthetical citations and vary the types of citations you use and make it very clear to the reader. So you'll go through each of your topics. Each one would have a centered heading. Each one will use information from both sources with clear citations throughout. And then when you get to the conclusion, this is where you are reacting to your experience. Please react to both the interviewee and to the research you did in your print source and how this might affect your future career plans. Again, at the end, you would have your references page. You do not list your personal communication on the references page. You only cite it within the body of the paper, but you would list your print resource here as we explained. Hopefully this will help you as you work on your final paper.